also some things on here that I don't like.
Yeah.
We're in Virginia.
Hey there.
It's weird. It is kind of strange to me sometimes.
I have my wife.
Hello, how are you?
You just, do the nudge nudge if you need me to scoot over. You're very welcome. I need to hand out more. I don't have a Santa Claus, but I have a giant Santa. Guess what I'm doing right now? Is it important? Do what? No, that's what I bought. This is going to be a long This is the only things I did. I usually do make it.
That's just my policy.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for November the 13th, 2021. At this time, I'd like to ask Brother Don Dixon to come to the podium for the invocation and lead us in the pledge. If Mr. Dixon is not here, please join me for the prayer and the pledge. Father, we thank you for being with us this evening. Thank you for guiding our hands tonight as we deliberate the city's business. Be with the person represented here, be with the board that's governing this body tonight, and guide our deliberations fair and equitably. We ask that you bless this meeting. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. This time I'd like to ask our city recorder to do the roll call.
Yes, indeed. Mayor Noes,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Blanks,
Here.
Alderperson Almacher. Here. Berry.
Here.
Blackwell. Here. Dunn.
Here.
McGee. Here. 7 present.
Very good. We do have a quorum. This time, tonight, I will make everyone aware that for the last 20 years or so, we have followed the same agenda for our meetings, same practice for our meetings. Tonight we'll be doing things a little bit differently. If you'll notice around the dais tonight, we have a new person joining us, Ms. Patricia Judkins. And Ms. Judkins is a parliamentarian, certified parliamentarian, and I welcome her to join me here to help do things in order. So because of some things that we have been through, some parliamentary training with Ms. Pat, there's some things that we needed to be doing a little bit differently, and we will be following that new script tonight. So thank you for being here this evening. Okay, thank you. So with that, the first thing that we'll be doing tonight and in the future is, first off, is the approval of the agenda. And with the approval of the agenda, and with that, and each of you do have a revised copy of that. First, let me say that any debate on any motion is going to be limited to 15 minutes, and each member may speak for 2 minutes on a motion, and after each of the board members have spoken for 2 minutes, they'll have an opportunity for an additional 1 minute to speak. So thereby, tonight, we will, the only way we'll take an exception to that is if there's a motion to limit or extend the debate. Okay? Are you ready for the question on the agenda? We will vote on this agenda, on the approval of the agenda. So you have the agenda before you, and I could ask that you would vote in the affirmative or in the negative on your keypad. And with that, there's a 7-0. And the intent of that is to, after an agenda has been adopted by this assembly, there'll be no change except by a 2/3 vote, and at that time, a vote of a majority of the entire membership or by unanimous consent. So that's the way we'll be handling things in the future. The next on the agenda tonight is for some commendations and certificates, and this is one of the things that makes it's an opportunity for me to present these commendations. So at this time, I'd like to recognize I'll be reading a proclamation recognizing our 2021 State 4A Championship for our Tullahoma Wildcats. First off, just a big hand. That's in addition to a pretty nice parade you had last night.
Very nice parade.
Very good. At this time, let me read a certificate of recognition, then I'll ask you as a group to come forward to receive the recognition plaque. This is to present to the Tullahoma Wildcats football team a 2021 undefeated season, 15-0, for achieving the 2021 Class 4A State Championship, 2021 Blue Cross Bowl, Saturday, December the 4th, 2021. Final score, double overtime, 21-14. Again, if you join me at the flag, I'd like to get a picture with you. Wow, you're going to dwarf me up.
How about if we do it in the center?
Yeah, I
Let's
would
do it
move
in
it
the
to the
center.
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 Let's move everybody in the center because that's what
Okay, I think you got a good point.
Some big boys.
Bless your heart.
You got a wide angle lens there? Okay, I've only got one of these certificates, so what do you do, draw straws? You're the biggest guy, you get it. Congratulations. Thank you, team, what a wonderful game. Of course, these players did all the work, but there was another little part that went along with that. They had a pretty good coach. We've got a coach that's been with us in Tullahoma for a long time. He's become an outstanding part of the community here. I have a certificate of recognition for you, Coach Olive. Certificate of recognition presented to John Olive, Tullahoma Wildcats head coach, on behalf of the 20,339 citizens that call Tullahoma home under the authority vested in me as the mayor of Tullahoma. In a celebration of 29 years of dedicated service as head coach of the Tullahoma High School Wildcats football team, it's a special congratulations for finishing your first coaching season, leading the team to the first 4A championship game in the history of Tullahoma. Finally, with your leadership on Saturday, December the 4th, 2021, the Tullahoma Wildcats football team became 2021 Class 4A Tennessee State champions. So now I therefore proclaim Monday, December the 13th, 2021 as John Olive Day. And in recognition, in Tullahoma, and urge to beseech all citizens to recognize the same. Congratulations, Coach. Come up and get your picture made again.
I'd like an extra one of those.
All right, at this time, we have some other commendations that we want to participate in, but I know you guys got to get in and study hard tonight. Again, congratulations. Community's proud of you. So at this time, we have some other commendations to do, and this is going to be presented by Fire Chief Pearson. Chief Pearson.
Good evening. Myself, Kenneth Pearson, and Assistant Chief Larry Sloan are going to give a life-saving award tonight to 5 individuals. On November 13th, 2021, Tullahoma Fire Department was dispatched to a reported unconscious patient. While en route, the call was upgraded to CPR in progress. Upon arriving on the scene, Tullahoma Police Department, Tullahoma Fire Department, and Coffee County EMS worked together to save the life of this individual. Tullahoma Police Department Officer George Dodson initiated patient care and began CPR while TFD personnel were en route. After the arrival of TFD personnel, Thomas Bradford and Garrett Stokes, they utilized an automated external defibrillator and continued CPR. Coffee County EMS personnel Caroline Stokes and Jamie Shoemake arrived shortly after TPD, and the patient was moved to the ambulance. The patient regained a pulse and was transported to Tullahoma Vanderbilt Hardin Hospital and was admitted for further observation. The teamwork shown by these individuals is commendable. I want to personally thank these individuals on their dedication to the service they provide. Their quick and decisive actions brought this patient back to life. For this, the Tullahoma Fire Department is honored to present these individuals with a challenge coin for the selfless acts of duty. Jamie and Caroline are actually on another call right now, so they're not going to be able to make it tonight. So they're responding to another act.
The Tullahoma Fire Department Challenge Coin program consists of a coin and a certificate that accompanies it. And the certificate reads, "The Tullahoma Fire Department is built around the principles of sacrifice, tradition, dedication, and community. Your actions are proof that you exemplify these traits. Therefore, it is our honor to present to you this challenge coin, and may you carry it with pride." It's Officer Dotson, here's your coin. And your certificate, sir. Firefighter Thomas Bradford, your coin. I think that's probably your second one. Firefighter Garrett Stokes. Congratulations again. And on behalf of Caroline and Jamie, who, like Chief Pearson said, they're out on a call, Chief Michael Bonner from Coffee County EMS is going to accept theirs, and I'm sure you'll pass on our appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Pearson. What a great team you have. Another special presentation we have tonight is from our Director of the Coffee County Emergency Management Agency, and that's Alan Lindley. Mr. Lindley.
Can I pull this down? I'm a little shorter than most. but I do talk loud, so I don't know that I need that. So I talked with Ms. Moody one day last week after the tornado, and she asked would I come and just brief the board on the tornado and the response. So Monday, December the 6th, so a week ago today, we had a EF1, Enhanced Vegeta Scale 1 tornado. Started in Bedford County just briefly, and then ran into Moore County, and then over into Coffee County. The track was 7.9 miles long, the total track. Now that dwarfs the one that they just had over in 4 states at over 200 miles long. Winds were sustained about 90 miles an hour for this tornado. This was a quick spin up. I talked with the Weather Service later on that day. It was not on the radar, and then the next radar sweep, there it was. So we didn't really have any warning, honestly. So I first want to thank, I'm an old Tullahoma guy from way back, worked with Tullahoma Fire. But when I moved over to Coffee County, I wanted to make sure that we all worked together. And police, fire, EMS, we have all worked together for so many years. I think we actually just can read each other's minds, which is a dangerous thing sometimes. But everything went so smoothly. We rolled into town that morning. I met with Assistant Chief Sloan out at the Lowe's parking lot and told him we were going to come to the police department and set up an emergency operations center, and I was going to bring all the chiefs down there, and then we could collectively determine how we were going to proceed. It worked flawlessly, so I can't say enough about these guys. Couple of things I do want to throw out to you guys, and then I'll entertain any questions, is we always like to tell people that when there's a tornado, you want to go to the lowest room of the house, you want to go to an interior room with no windows, cover it with mattresses. If you have helmets, you put those on. A couple of friends of mine were duck hunting over in Reelfoot Lake this past weekend, and the lodge that they were staying in was destroyed, and threw them out into a field, but they're fine. So, and that's what he told me. He said we covered up with a mattress and everything, and it probably saved their lives. If you're in a mobile home, we have some folks that live in mobile homes. If you're in a mobile home, that's a good time to go visit family or friends that live in a regular structure. So a few ways you can get the alerts. I mean, obviously we have the tornado sirens here in Tullahoma. Tornado sirens are an outdoor warning device specifically. The way homes are built and insulated now, if you're in a home, unless you're right underneath the tornado siren, you're probably not going to hear it, especially in the middle of the night. So a good NOAA weather radio is always good to have. You can also sign up for HyperReach, which is a reverse 911 system that Coffee County has. And then local media, social media, those other avenues. But your NOAA weather radio is your best bet. Your cell phone will always have the tornado warning. It won't have the tornado watch, but it'll come out, the tornado warning will come out on it. So with that, do you guys have any questions on anything? Yes, ma'am.
So one of the questions I think we got last year when some storms hit was about the city or the county having tornado shelters. I know that here in the city we don't currently, which is something I'd like to pitch, but does the county have any tornado shelters that you guys use?
Well, we have in the past, let me say that. With COVID, we have a church shelter program, so we use churches. But with COVID, a lot of churches, they hadn't really wanted to bring in things like that. So we're in the process of revamping the church shelter program right now, and would like to kind of expand that. It's really hard to find a church with a basement. I mean, there are a few out there, but really we like buildings with basements. something that we can get people underground, obviously, if we have a tornado. So we're working on that, and we'd be more than happy for any assistance that you can give us.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Mr. Lindley, last Saturday morning, as I was watching the devastation go across Kentucky, seeing the town of Mayfield completely devastated, the thought went through my mind as mayor, I said, what would I do as mayor of Tullahoma should that happen? And the first thing I'd do is call you. It's not a joke. That's the first person I would call.
I understand.
And for good reason. That's the plan that we have, is to bring all the resources that we have, a consolidated effort as quickly as we can to help those in need. So
Yes, sir.
we thank you immensely for what you do.
And we do have, Mayor, we do have an overall emergency operations plan. Of course, since 9/11, that's not a public document for obvious reasons. But just know that your public safety folks, all of these guys lined up on the wall, are very versed in that document. And we'll just, if we ever have something, God forbid, like that, we'll just do it like eating an elephant. We'll do it a bite at a time till we get it done. So,
Very good.
thank you.
We certainly appreciate what you do. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
This time we have another special presentation that we'd like to hear today. It's the Executive Director of the Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce, their year-end report. Hope Sarton. Hope Sarton Nunley.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I just wanted to come present to all of you as one final closing to an amazing year at TACC and just update you on some things. So it has been quite a year at the Chamber. I'm very proud of the successes that we had this year. Many of the events that we had where we exceeded expectation, and one of those was membership, which tells us that people want to actively engage with what we're creating and what we're doing, and so very excited about that. We hosted 40 ribbon cuttings this year, which is amazing to celebrate so many. I'm so sorry, it's 41 with Nature's Elite. So again, it was very exciting to celebrate all of those businesses. We partnered with the Manchester Chamber of Commerce to successfully revive the Coffee County Leadership Program, and that class is currently going through now. We strengthened our relationship with the Arnold Air Force Base with our Military Affairs Committee and participated in a lot of the events that they had out there and are enjoying that partnership. The staff has been heavily involved in the Think Tullahoma 2040 planning process, and we've really enjoyed being a part of that to see the direction that the city is going and how the chamber can partner and help with those goals. We distributed over 800 maps, and we answered over 75 relocation requests. So those are people looking to move to our area or possibly open a business in the area. We visited 32 members throughout the year with our ambassadors during our pop-in visits, which allows us to interact with the business owners, see them face to face, ask them about their pain points, how we can better serve them. And also it's an educational program for our ambassadors where they get to learn about all the wonderful assets that we have here in our community. Tisha and I both attended the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce executive training this year. And so we attend that training just so that we have tools to better serve our members and our community. Our CEO program was able to resume this year with a successful kickoff breakfast and many successful kickoff events. And the feedback that we've received is that the program is stronger than ever. Our website is a constant project that we hope to have completed before the end of the year. We've rebranded our Shop Local efforts, and I had brought all of you a t-shirt, and then I saw that Miss Moody actually had left one for everyone. So it is now Shop, Eat, Play Tullahoma, because there's so much to do in this community other than just shopping. So we want to encourage everyone to keep as much of the dollars here as possible. We celebrated a milestone birthday this year. We celebrated 100 years. So we had a birthday party, we had a ribbon cutting, and the party will continue into February at our annual membership celebration, which hopefully you're all planning to join us, Friday, February 4th. And then we ended the year with the 65th annual Tullahoma Christmas Parade. And we had 116 floats, and our record is 118. And so it was a very successful evening, perfect weather, and it was an honor to celebrate Fran Markham as our Grand Marshal. I just want to thank all of you for your partnership and your efforts in making this year a success, and we are already looking forward to 2022. And does anybody have any questions? No?
Don't have any questions, just have a commendation. This certainly, we are proud of our Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce, so we're looking forward to your birthday party on February the 4th. So thank you again, Ms. Sarton-Nutley. Thank you. The next item of business this evening is to receive comments from our citizens, and I will ask any citizens that will care to come forward without objection. I'd like to allocate up to 5 minutes. We will have a timekeeper, and they will give you a card at 1 minute if you need a card. Any citizen who'd like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move right on to the reports of the mayor and alderman. We'll start with Alderman Zenobia McGee.
Okay. Well, it's been a long time since we've met, so I will keep my comments short. But I did attend the Veterans Day program, which was wonderful. It was beautiful at the South Jackson Civic Center. I did attend Tullahoma Housing Authority, their meeting. They changed it from the third Thursday to the following Monday. They had some things going on. I thoroughly enjoyed the parliamentary training that we received. I learned a lot from that. And I had a float in the parade this past Friday night, and we won the Jingle Bell Music Award. We were Jim and the Holograms. That was so much fun. I had to explain to the kids who Jim and the Holograms were, so I aged myself a little bit on that one. I did attend the state game, so kudos, and just so proud of the Tullahoma football team. I attended the parade on yesterday, and I am also, I did a coat drive last year, and it was very overwhelming for me last year, and I had initially decided that I wouldn't do one, but some of my coworkers really enjoyed purchasing the coats and participating in the coat drive. So we are doing a coat drive this year, and we reached out to a daycare center here, and so we will be getting coats for those children who attend this particular daycare. And as the winter months roll in, people still having, some difficulties and hard times. I still have information on places that have resources available to them. So if you know anyone who needs resources, please have them contact me. And I have a list of different agencies that they can reach out to for resources. I feel like I'm missing something, but I'm not sure. So I think that's all. Thank you so much, Mayor Noyes.
Alderman Berry.
Mayor, thank you. I attended, fuck, I'm yelling, Economic Development Corporation meeting. Big things happening. Can't talk about it. You'll find out soon. Also, the Tullahoma Sports Council, the 2022 Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be February 12th. Tickets in a very limited quantity are available, so if you want to get a ticket, you need to do that very quickly. You can do that at Householder and Artman, Smart Bank, or Nature's Elite in Tullahoma. Also looking for event sponsors as well. If you're interested in that, you can speak with me or any of the board members of the Sports Council. I attended the state championship game as well, and man, I'm still overwhelmed. I feel like that was just amazing. It's a long time coming. Coach Olive was a huge influencer on my life, so it was exciting to see him. That was well deserved. And then lastly, tonight the certificates of recognitions and that we had, I think it was a lot of what makes Tullahoma awesome. Honoring our sports team, state championships. I mean, that's unreal. That's something that they will remember for the rest of their lives. It's incredible for the city of Tullahoma and our recognition. Honoring our first responders. I mean, I don't think they get honored enough, but that call or that face you see when everything, your world's falling apart. And it's not easy on them, and it's not easy on you. And then also the report from the chamber tonight. It's strong. Shop, eat, play. And so tonight I think was awesome. It's been a while since we met, but that was a great note to start this meeting on because it hit all of the things that make Tullahoma an incredible place to live. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Almacher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So our Tourism Council meeting got canceled for this month, but we will have another one next month. Winston, remind me, the date is? The third Thursday in January. So hopefully if you're interested in taking part in that, we got a lot of things going on with tourism in the city of Tullahoma and some great businesses being open, and Tullahoma's been a pretty successful year. And so with that said, I'd like to thank Hope for all of her endeavors and helping every business in Tullahoma, and I know that you guys have done some even with businesses who aren't necessarily a member of the chamber, and I want to thank you for reaching out to those as well. So I'm a Tullahoma graduate. Most of us up here on this board are, and so couldn't be more thrilled to see Tullahoma get to go to the state championship. Unfortunately, I missed that day. As some of you know, I'm the chairman of the Young Republicans here, and we had a state federation meeting that day, but I was watching it on my phone as I'm sitting there, and I kept jumping in my seat, and they didn't know what I was doing, but that's okay. So we won. It was all worth it, and so thank you to Coach John Olive and the Tullahoma boys for all their hard work. Tornado victims. I know that the fire department is got a truck out at Station 1, I believe. Is that correct, Chief Pearson? That's correct. And actually, may I defer? Would you like to just kind of speak to that for a second? Because I was hoping you would say something would get said, but I know that we're on a time crunch. So would you like to tell us about what's going on at Station 1 for tornado relief, if you could?
We've set up with Manchester and the Coffee County Emergency Management over there. They're going to have semis set up at the Bilo in Manchester. We're going to be a collection point at the fire station. So at Station 1, anybody that wants to bring any type of, I don't have my notes here, but any type of water relief for the victims in Kentucky, they're going to be setting that up there. So we're just going to try to be a collection point at this time.
And so when is that truck leaving? When's our deadline on that?
Don't have a deadline yet.
Okay, all right. So as soon as the trucks fill up, so hopefully, thank you for that, Chief. So hopefully we can band together as a community and help some of those tornado victims. I myself happened to be a tornado victim over the weekend, and my barns just about got blown to smithereens on Ledford Mill, and I'm still picking 10 out of, well, High Point and on down the road, and I've made three trips picking up metal off of my barns and other buildings. And stay tuned. Look at my Alderman page or my personal Facebook if you're interested in helping out with the relief here as well as the relief in other places. I'm hoping to be more involved with that, as well as getting together with Mr. Lindley, since I do sit on the 911 the CCC board, getting together with them to try to create some storm shelters across the county and as well in the city of Tullahoma. We'll be looking at some at-risk areas, especially with our mobile home population and things like that, and hopefully can try to get the information out of here's where you can go if there's severe weather, whether it be a tornado, a blizzard, flooding, different things like that, and get some partnerships. So if your church would like to partner with us, then I'll go ahead and volunteer to be a point of contact for that. Small business shout out, I'm going to give it to the Daily Fun Spot, which is located on 200 Ledford Mill Road. So they have new ownership, and now they have bounce houses, laser tag, skating ring, an arcade. They're having a New Year's Eve lock-in, I just found out. It only costs $20. You can drop your kids off at 7 o'clock that night and pick them up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock the next morning. So, so y'all check into that. Today, there aren't my small business shout out, but still just an amazing operation. CFC, I gotta hand it to y'all. I was out there today and I said, you know what, I was picking up tin, taking it out there, just the smooth operations. And, you know, I was like, this is our very own Mount Crumpet. So in the spirit of Christmas, y'all, we need to be very appreciative of our very own Mount Crumpet and all of the goodies that I saw out there. And they really do turn, you know, trash into treasure and make it worth something. So big shout out to CFC as well. Proud to be a Tullahomian. Another plug, if you have tornado damage from this last storm, or if you in the future do, and you own farmland, since a lot of us are, you know, an agriculture state, there are some programs for conservationism, and that's through the USDA, and we have an office in Manchester. And if you're interested in getting more information about how to get, you know, fencing and trees and pickup and money for that insurance doesn't cover, please reach out to me because I have more information on that as well. So, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you. Alderman Blackwell.
Thank you. Mayor, I just want for clarification, as I'm nervous since we have a parliamentarian here, are we supposed to keep our talking points to a certain time? And if so, can you remind me?
We have not limited that at this time.
Okay, great. And we're supposed to speak specifically to what we are appointed to, is that correct? Okay, please let me know if I don't, and cut me off. Board of Education, I sit on the board of, the liaison to the Board of Education, and I want to make sure you are all aware of the couple things that were voted on at the last board meeting. They did choose the engineering and design firm of OLG to begin FARA. So very excited for that is actually starting. And I wanted to share one other thing that I thought was a point of interest that was also voted on and voted unanimously at the board meeting, is that they are purchasing and installing badged access control to all the buildings, a safety measure that I think all of us who have children are likely feeling much more comfortable knowing that that is going to be happening as well. So I just wanted to share that with you all as to those are the main two big things I wanted to share. They also wanted to specifically let you guys know that they thanked Jennifer and Sue for their work to actually put together the financial and budgetary expectations regarding FARA. So I wanted to make sure that you all knew how appreciative that they were of you know, our awesome staff. The other thing I was going to say is downtown is another initiative I've been working on. I wanted to thank Winston and Jordan and Jennifer as well for working with together for us all to get these, in case anyone hasn't seen them, new seasonal banners, which I'm super excited about, that we placed up in downtown, as well as some wreaths on the light fixtures. I know it sounds silly, but to me, the little things matter for making sure that our downtown feels appreciated, that it's also someplace that people will want to come and shop. So I'm hoping that, you know, $150 worth of wreaths will make people feel more seasonal and want to actually spend more money down there, to be honest, to shop, eat, play in Tullahoma. I'm really excited about those downtown banners. They were purchased locally, so yeah, I'm glad that we were able to shop local and put them up. They make me very happy, and I hope that I've only heard positive things, so hopefully that as well. One other final thing I wanted to share is the Tullahoma Emergency Shelter Project, which is where I might get cut off, but I just want to make you all aware that this is something that's happening within our community right now, that if you know of anyone who's experiencing homelessness and is looking for a place to stay, please direct them to Trinity Lutheran Church from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. And that is all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Dunn.
Thank you very much. I wanted to start by saying congratulations to the Tullahoma Wildcats. I'm wearing my Letterman jacket to celebrate that. And I have to say it's been really fun to watch. Just so you all know, those guys are not just athletes. They are definitely students first. And having worked with several on calculus and ACT, there's a fine group of young men. So congratulations to all of them. And also, I wanted to say to Garrett Stokes, who was one of my former students, again, it is always really nice to see some of my former students succeed. So thank you very much, Garrett, for what you're doing with EMS. With the tree board and Go Green, I want to remind folks, I know sometimes when we see these big storms that trees can kind of become the bad guys. And it's really important that we have as many trees as possible, just because when we have these large, vast plains like we see in the Midwest, that's where we really see much more dangerous tornadoes. So we really do want more trees in our yards. If you are at all concerned with what type of trees might be better for you in your particular lot, you're welcome to talk to any of the members of the tree board. I would certainly recommend talking to Ralph Graham or Lyle Russell in that case. We need more trees. So with that, they also have, they've been working on doing some things just on the corridor on the way to Manchester on Highway 55. Stay tuned for that. I think we should see some beautification on that end. And with Go Green, a lot of our things are going to be happening more in the spring, but just know that we are pursuing more rain barrel activities. I know that's been a very popular thing. So we'll see. Earth Day is in the works. That's not until April, but we're already starting to plan for it. But that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
We all like your Titletown jacket.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's showing off that you
T-Town.
have that one.
Mayor Pro Tem Blanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to be brief. With all my colleagues, I'd like to give kudos to our THS football team for their perfect season and bringing the gold ball to Tullahoma. That's something that we will talk about in this town for a long time, and they are our heroes. Also, kudos to John Olive for coaching up not only this football team, but he's been very influential, like Daniel said, in a lot of young men's lives in this community. He's been a fine example. He's retiring from football coaching, but he's still going to stay on the BAD. So, Coach Olive, way to go. Also attended the parliamentary procedures training. That was very educational. Hopefully when we get into the depth of our robust agenda, we will follow our proper etiquette. I attended a TUA Christmas dinner. Also attended a TUA special call meeting this morning where we voted on bids for the traffic lights that we will be voting on tonight. So that's something that will enhance the downtown and make it look better. Also, like to give kudos to Tom Robinson, who's retiring from the TADC board. He's given us, 10 years of service, maybe more, 11. Tom, thank you for what you've done. I don't think you're here tonight, but we will miss you. Let's see what else I have. I also attended with my colleagues, some of my colleagues here on the days tonight, the Arnold Community Council / Lincoln Board. Also, I would like to say shop, dine, and play Tullahoma, and that's all I have there.
Thank you, Alderman Blanks. The mayor's attended the airport board on the month ago. Got another one coming up tomorrow night. Attended a special call meeting on the 10th of November. And then we had the Veterans Remembrance that everyone attended on the 11 o'clock, that 11/11. And we had the Walker Collaborative Town Hall meeting that night at the high school. Busy day. On the 14th, we had a grand musical down, the Sound of Music, down at South Jackson Civic Center. Very fortunate to have that type of talent in Tullahoma. On the 15th, Planning Commission, full agenda for there. And then that night we adjourned, we were able to adjourn quickly and get over to our Dream Tullahoma. No, not Dream Tullahoma, but Think Tullahoma 2040, another Walker Collaborative meeting over at the high school again. Then we had our parliamentarian training the next night. So we've had a pretty good, pretty busy month, long year. Then, of course, last Friday night we had the Motlow Gala. Some of you attended that. With that, this time I'd like to call on our city attorney, Stephen Worsham, for his report.
On Friday night, I attended the Board of Trustees at Motlow College, their semi-annual meeting, and learned about a number of new initiatives, very exciting initiatives that Motlow College is planning for our community and our area in the next few days. So I think you'll be hearing more and more about that. There are going to be some announcements about those things in the near future. But they're expanding their program to include working toward a collaboration with UTSI for a PhD degree, with Motlow and UTSI. They're also working with UT Knoxville on some programs, and they've got a number of initiatives that are really going to put them on the map for Tullahoma. It's going to be really a wonderful thing. We've been working with Bass, Berry & Sims, a law firm in Nashville, relative to the issuance of the school bonds for the new Farrer School that are being contemplated, that we voted on a few nights ago. We've been working with Ms. Moody and the city engineer, Mr. Scott St. John, relative to some wastewater management programs and other water management programs in Tullahoma, relative to the drainage issues in the Avoca Road, Riley Creek Road area. We've just acquired some property out there that I think is going to help us in that initiative. And we've been working with the county and the county tax attorney relative to the collection of delinquent property taxes here. We'd planned to coordinate that endeavor with the county, but fortunately for him, but unfortunately for us, our county tax attorney has been elevated to a judgeship by the governor. He's now going to be our circuit judge for Coffee County. That's Will Lockhart. So the county is searching for another tax attorney, and that has not materialized yet. But in the meantime, in working with them and contemplating a collaboration with them, we discovered some provisions in our city charter that are quite outdated. And you have an item on your agenda later on tonight to address that issue. We're asking the board, pardon me, to amend the charter to eliminate the necessity of our having to limit our lawsuits for the collection of those taxes to only 25 defendants, so that we can have only one suit for all of the delinquent property taxpayers that owe taxes, and also to upgrade our charter so that we will have the authority to either utilize the state law provisions for the collection of delinquent taxes or provisions in our charter, which is better for us both monetarily and also procedurally in order to be able to kind of streamline that process. So we'll be working on that, and hopefully next year we'll be able to have our tax sale. Do I have any questions about anything?
If I'm, the corner of Riley Creek and Avoca is for stormwater, not wastewater, correct?
I'm sorry. Did I say wastewater?
Yes, I'm just making sure.
I beg your pardon.
I didn't want
Stormwater, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Right,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yes.
And you know, we have a stormwater management
Yes,
program in
thank you.
Tullahoma.
I
It's
just
a
wanted to
very
make sure.
extensive one, and we're going to get some federal funds for that program too. This is going to be very advantageous to us. But we're working on that because there are some issues that I think the acquisition of that property by the city at that corner is going to help to alleviate those problems somewhat.
I really hope so.
And it's just a question of, we build more and more subdivisions in Tullahoma, and we cut down more and more trees, and as a result of that, we have more and more stormwater to deal with. And I appreciate what you're doing, Ms. Dunn, with the tree board. I'm a member of the tree board too, and we're working on those issues to try to initiate a program for planting and maintaining more and more trees in our town, not only along the streets, but on private property, because we're losing a lot of trees.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 1,100 trees that we lost in the last tornado about 4 years ago, and we haven't replaced nearly all of those. So we've got to really get serious about that sort of thing. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Attorney Worsham. City Administrator, Ms. Moody, the report, please.
Thank you. I have a few items. I want to draw your attention tonight. You should have found a blue folder at each of your seats. Jordan Wilkins has taken the lead on putting this new business welcome packet together, and we wanted you to have a copy and see. We're providing this packet of information to everyone who asks for a new business license with the city. And it does feature information from the Chamber of Commerce, but also from our city departments, and a letter from the mayor's office welcoming them. I think what we decided, this is really a helpful packet, starting with our new businesses. We'll probably launch into a new packet that is more resident-oriented, and then we also are hoping to put together a curriculum for a Citizen Academy next. So just wanted to give you an idea about that. Also, it's with great pride that Sue Wilson and I want to share with the public that we've had a rating as a result of the school system's bond issuance. So Moody's Investors Service looked at the city of Tullahoma
And on a scale of 21 possible ratings, AAA is known, it is the highest. Tullahoma is designated a AA2 community, the next highest rating category. While we did not receive an upgrade at this time, we are certainly celebrating the city's ability to maintain this outstanding AA2 rating despite conditions during a pandemic. And the credit opinion identified the city of Tullahoma's credit strengths, such as noting we have above average growth for a community our size and healthy and stable reserve levels. In the detailed report, they credit the city's strong and stable financial position to our conservative budgeting in the near term, and note that at the end of fiscal year 2020, the city's available fund balance was the highest it had been in 6 years. So again, we not only weathered the storm, I would say we thrived during the storm. They also noted our healthy cash position, which helps us to support operations and I think be able to manage the number of grant projects and leverage those funds as well as we have. Also credited us with complying with our formal fund balance policies and our history of regularly outperforming adopted budgets, showing that we have just very slowly increased reserve levels, and all of these things help to offset what they saw as credit challenges or a little bit of credit risk that we carry from having such economically sensitive revenues, so sales tax, which is more volatile than property tax. So overall, just wanted to thank our finance staff, who's the backbone of this credit rating and this budget work that we do. And it's an excellent reflection, I believe, on all of our collective efforts to be responsible financial stewards of our community's dollars. Also tonight, just wanted to call out to be sure that the public doesn't miss it. We have taken construction bids on our Safe Routes to School grant project. This is 7 years in the making. We're going to be installing a new section of sidewalk on East Grundy Street between North College and the Dossett Apartments. And this is that kind of final link to bring students from those neighborhoods to East Lincoln Elementary. So we're proud to be able to go to construction very soon on that project. And then just a couple of calendar items. Wanted to remind you all that we will have a study session after our next regular board meeting on January 10th. Last Thursday, Mayor Noes and I attended virtually a Tennessee Municipal League District 6 meeting. Got a little bit of information on their priorities for this upcoming legislative season. And that always kind of reminds me that we need to probably get to work to have a legislative meeting with everyone. And then this Friday, Mayor Noes and I are attending a regional meeting to discuss school funding with some state representatives, and Dr. Stevens and some of her staff will be joining us. So that's my report tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Moody. The next item of business will be the adoption of the consent agenda. I will remind you that all matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine. They'll be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which case that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. During the portion of the meeting reserved for comments from citizens, as shown on the agenda, citizens may request that the board remove an item from the consent agenda so that any discussion may be held on that item. I'll read the caption for those items that are on the consent agenda. Item number 21-153 is the minutes from the November the 8th meeting, our last. There was a public hearing, it was a regular meeting, and on November the 10th, 2021, we had a special call meeting. Item number 21-154, October 2021 financial report. All these are parts of your packet that you have. 155, the adoption to accept donations for the City Hall holiday tree and the trimmings, total valued at approximately $825. That came from Lowe's, Big Lots, Walmart, and Hobby Lobby. Mr. Wilkins was very instrumental in making that happen. We thank you for that. Item number 156, to authorize an application to the Tennessee Department of Transportation That's for the 2022 Community Transportation Planning Grant for a corridor study on Cedar Lane and West Side Drive with an estimated total project cost of $125,000 with a 10% local match. Item 157, authorize an application to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for assistance for firefighters. That's a grant for EFG program. Will be for full replacement of the SCHA. That's for their breathing apparatus. For the Tullahoma Fire Department, that's an estimated total cost of $432,190 with a 10% local match. Item number 158, authorize an application to T-Mobile Hometown Grants Program for renovations to the Balls Historical Building, that's formerly known as the American Red Cross Building. They'll be requesting the support of up to $50,000 with no local match. And item number 159, to accept a $5,000 donation from the South Central Business Development Corporation to support upgrades to the Balls Historic Building as a historical museum. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Motion from Dunn,
Second.
seconded by Alderman, by Blackwell. Any no discussion? We'll vote affirmative on the green and red for no. Consent agenda is adopted as 7-0. Under unfinished business, we have an ordinance number 1570, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Tullahoma as set forth in the Tullahoma Municipal Code, which is ordinance number 1392, to rezone an approximately 35.26 acre parcel located on the 200 block of Ledford Mill Road. That's from C2 general commercial to R3 high density residential. This is for passage on the second of 2 readings. And I will call your attention, there is a letter from the airport that does express some opposition to that, but I'll also remind you that that comes to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen from the Planning Commission with a unanimous recommendation. Should I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion from Dunn, seconded by Blackwell. Any discussion? Yes?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question, and this may go to our planning director. That specific property, if developed, I'm sure they'll have to put plans in there to mitigate any kind of runoff. Anybody that's familiar with that section of Ledford Mill Road, as you come out of Lowe's, you come across a flooded, swampy area. Where is that water coming from? You know, with the area on this parcel, tax map 91.01, does that drain into that swamp as well?
Yes, the Mary Samaniego Senior Planner. On the northwest corner of this property is regulated FEMA floodplain. That is part of the floodplain for Rock Creek, which is the swampy area you're referring to.
So, you know, if you come south and you start developing that and cover it up with concrete and asphalt and whatever, where's that water gonna go? Or that'll be down the road once it's developed, right?
When this property is developed, they will be required to submit construction plans for the site, including stormwater plans, which will be reviewed and approved by the city engineer according to our stormwater code.
Good. You know, my only concern is I was down that road not long ago, and, you know, we had a significant flood event, which, you know, 12 inches of rain or how much ever we had in a small amount of time. There's no amount of mitigation, I guess, that would overcome that, but we need to think about it. I don't know, I know because we all probably got comments from residents that were affected over on the eastern part of town when we got all that rain and they got flooding. So we need to really think long and hard about that and press our planning people or whoever approves that to make sure that's in place before we push forward. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Any other discussion? Alderman Blanks.
I just-
Alderman Blackwell.
Alderman, I just wanted to say that I actually recently received a message from someone out at the base saying specifically how they were hoping that what they could do to talk with people in our community about bringing developments in very similar to what it seems like is proposed with condos, townhomes, because their fear was that the people that were coming to the base, the younger generation, those youngsters, are actually going to Murfreesboro rather than staying in town. So I'm very excited that this is here for our second second readings.
Any
Mr.
further
Mayor?
discussion, Alderman Almater?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, in our agenda packet, that the comprehensive development plan consideration, where it talks about that area is designated as a development center, and a development center is characterized as one that is a cluster of high-density development which acts as a magnet for residential and non-residential growth. So for our comprehensive plan going forward, that area we're already designating that as wanting stuff like this there. So I didn't know if you knew that, but. All right.
Yeah, I know that is in the comprehensive plan.
Is there any other discussion before we come back to you, Alderman Blanks?
I'll
Is
just-
there any other discussion?
Sure. I'm very thrilled to see that this is coming about, and I know that there are a lot of things that property owners can do to help mitigate stormwater, and it is very important that we all do our part to keep as much water on our own property as possible, especially when we're talking about a very large development like this, whether it be the parking material that we use or retention ponds that can be, there's some that are very attractive that can really make the property even more beautiful. But I'm happy to see this move forward.
Any further discussion? Alderman McGee, Alderman Berry, you have something?
Well, speaking to my colleague, yeah, the comprehensive plan says that that's an area that's ripe for development. Sometimes development does not take into account everything that needs to be taken into account. Tullahoma is unfortunately built on a high swamp. So, I can't think of anywhere else in town that there's that much standing water when you go down the road, and nearly year-round. So I'm not saying let's not do anything out there. We just have to make sure that we take that into account when we develop. That's all I have.
We have a proper motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Vote green for affirmative, red for no. It's 7-0 in the affirmative. We'll go into new business at this point, and with new business, we will be following a little different practice with our new business items. And when I introduce an item, I will ask our city administrator to give us some background on that. And that's not particularly for you, because I know that you have already read all of the background material in your packet. But it is beneficial to those who have not seen the packet. These don't go out to the general public. So it will be beneficial to those who are watching our proceedings. It'll add a degree of transparency and exchange of information. So we'll be calling on Ms. Moody to give some background information on each of these after I read the caption. So with that, with the new business, we'll go to ordinance number 1569, an ordinance to amend the code of ordinance for the city of Tullahoma, Tennessee by amending chapter 6, this is fireworks, of title 7, fire and protection and fireworks, to expand the time and the period for permitted sale of the use of fireworks to include celebration of a new federal holiday known as June 19th or Juneteenth. This will be for passage on the first of two readings. Could I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve?
A second.
And a second from Blackwell. This time, Ms. Moody, would you care to give some background on this?
I'd be happy to, Mayor. This year, the U.S. Congress passed a new federal holiday known as Juneteenth, observing the end of slavery in the United States. And the board's recommended to consider revising the municipal code in recognition of this new national holiday and a desire among residents to celebrate with fireworks, similar to Independence Day, July 4th celebrations. Currently, the sale of fireworks is not permissible until June 20th each year. It's been recommended that you enable this use by amending the ordinance for an additional 3 days. So just extending permitting and sales for an additional 3 days, to include 2 days prior to June 19th. And then we would also amend the section that applies to use and add a new section that would say June 19th, the permissible hours shall only be from 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. That's the item as presented.
Okay, if there's any discussion on this, I just ask for you to raise your hand and we'll go around the room. I believe I saw a hand here first. Yes, Alderman Berry.
First, thank you for, this is something I talked about at the board a while ago. Ms. Moody and Jordan, I believe, worked hard on getting this on the agenda. This is something that I'm happy to see on here. It was in talking with the community and receiving phone calls and walking around, it was something that there was support for. But also individually, it's important, I think, to me and I think to all of us. I'm biased, honestly, but I believe we live on the greatest nation on the face of the earth in history. But we are fallible, and we don't always get things right.
And again, I'll go back to my initial instructions, and there was a go-around for discussions on these ordinances. It'll be limited to 2 minutes, and then we'll go around the room. Yes, I saw your hand.
Is that 2 minutes?
You're good.
I don't think that was 2 minutes.
That was 1
You're
minute.
good. You're good.
You're good. He's just reminding everybody. You have another minute.
And I think that this is one of those things that it reminds us as individuals that throughout each generation, we constantly make strides to be more perfectly imperfect, I think is the best way to say that. And it's not a celebration just for a specific group, or it's something for each of us, and it's one of those feats in American history where I think that we should recognize. And I'm happy to see this and hope that the city does more and adds on to this in the future.
Thank you, Alderman Berry. Alderman Blanks, I saw your hand next.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will not, as long as I'm an alderman, vote to extend any type of fireworks for any kind of celebration. I've had numerous calls from dog owners that do not care to have fireworks in the city of Tullahoma or extended sales. A lot of people don't have dogs, so they don't have to deal with that. But there's a period around New Year's and there's a period around 4th of July where that is an issue for a lot of dog owners. So, you know, not taking away from anything of the Juneteenth celebration, I think that's super important, part of our history, but I'm not going to vote yes to, if it was up to me, I would get rid of all fireworks sales in the city of Tullahoma. And there was nobody that loved fireworks better than me growing up. I'd spend every nickel on them. I'd drive to Freeway Market on my bike to get them and shoot them when it was not legal. Now that I've become an adult, I won't support this. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Yes, Alderman Blackwell.
Yeah, and she was next.
Well, I understand where Alderman Mayor Pro Tem Blanks is coming from with that. That being said, I see the very much importance of us recognizing Juneteenth as a celebration of independence for many people. One of the things, though, with this that we are looking at amending the ordinance at this point. I have never seen the sale of fireworks, and maybe I'm wrong, and y'all could correct me on this, in Tullahoma from December 21st through January 1st. And I'm wondering if maybe, if I am hearing from others that they don't, if we remove that part, pulling it from, allowing for what Alderman Berry, I know, has worked very hard to try to do, but also looking at whether or not we should remove the sale of fireworks from December 21st through January 1st, since no one's selling them anyway. I think that might be, because I know I too hear from, I don't hear as many from dog owners, I hear from all the moms with newborns, and that it's very frustrating. I've been one of them before as well, and if that's one way to try to find a compromise.
Thank you, Alderman Blackwell. I have a hand over here.
Okay, I have a question first. Thank you, Mayor Noyes. But the sales, you said the sales generally start June the 20th. So it's just one day extension. And I 3 days? 17th. Okay, seven. And I understand what Mayor Pro Tem Blanks is saying. Sometimes the noise, I go to bed early, but the noise gets on my nerves, but also being African American, this is huge. And it is our day of freedom. And so I'm just glad, I'm just thankful that it is on our agenda to even, recognize and allow us to have the fireworks on that day. So that's all.
Sure, absolutely, thank you. I personally, I'm very glad that this is being recognized as a national holiday, federal holiday as well, but I'm kind of surprised as an eye doctor, you didn't mention anything eye doctor about this, but as far as veterans, and there's a whole slew of reasons why I don't really care for fireworks either. I think I would love to see it extended towards the 17th as far as the sales. So, but as far as amendments that I would like to explore, I think replacing, if you guys look, I'm on page 96, and it says, limited time period to use of fireworks. Right now we have from July 1st through July 4th, and then it would also include June 19th would be our other day. Personally, that week is really hard on me to see them from July 1st to the July 4th. I think if we could amend that from July 1st to July 3rd, I think that would be a much more appropriate use of celebration. And I happen to agree with Alderman Blackwell to, I don't know that we need fireworks sales in December, period, or use of. Mr. Mayor. Yes, I can certainly formally, would that make it easier on everybody?
Well, you can make an amendment if you choose to make an amendment.
All right,
Yes.
then let's do that. We'll make it official. So I would like to move to approve with the following amendments on the ordinance 7602, the portion with the, 7613, oh my goodness, no, sorry, 7602 and 7606 during permits and sales, remove the dates from December 21st through January 1st. On section 7613, replace January 1st with, July 1st with July 3rd.
I don't believe our city recorder got that motion in.
Did you not get all that, Rosemary? I am so sorry.
I think you meant
January
5 there.
Okay.
If you just say what page you're on.
I am
that
on
will help.
page, well, I'm flipping back and forth from 95 to 96.
Okay.
So, my amendment under 7602, permits and permit fees, to remove the section that says, or December 21st through January 5th.
Gotcha.
On page 96, under 7613, limited time period to use of fireworks. Amend where it says July 1st and replace it with the word July 3rd through July 4th.
Independence Day, I'm sorry, I just cannot say it any further.
I'm
Just,
this is the amendment I'm making.
okay.
Remove December 31st through January 1st. Oh, excuse me, sorry, don't do that.
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful if we limited the amendment to one
Okay.
change. And
Yes.
we'll act on that one change. If you choose to make another amendment, then we can have
Mayor
one
Noes,
second amendment.
you're a genius, thank you. All right, we're gonna make this really nice and neat. I move to amend on 7602, permits and permits fees. Remove the portion December 21st through January 5th.
Does she have to have a second on
Yes.
that?
Yes,
We have to have a second.
What page is that?
that is on page 95.
I'm going to second that.
Can I discuss, please? I've been holding it in, y'all.
We're only discussing from the December 21st to the January 9th.
That's perfectly fine with me. I'm going to absolutely, why are we creating restrictions, more regulations? I realize there's not a problem right now. Nobody's shooting off fireworks from December 19th to January 5th. We've already established that. So if there's not a problem, why are we creating more regulations for our society and for our community and constituents? I'm completely opposed to any, I am very much in favor of
Alderman
the
Black,
original, not and opposed to the
Alderman Almacher, I believe that goes back to the original motion, that we have to restrict this to the amendment.
No, now we are discussing on the amendment.
Only the amendment. Only the amendment. Do you have a comment?
Yes.
On the amendment?
Okay, yes, sir. I'm opposed to the amendment.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion, Alderman
I do.
McGee, Barry?
We're discussing removing December 21st to January 1st, correct?
That's
January
correct.
5th, yes.
January 5th.
January.
On
There was
95.
conflicting-
I know, it is, I'm on section 7602, dealing with permits and permits fees.
So she's talking about section 7-602, permits
Yes.
and permit fees. And it describes a period from December 21st through January 5th. I believe because we allow the permit to extend for a few more days to allow the tents.
Take down.
Yes, an additional like closing sale and then
Your
some days
inventory.
to remove the tent.
Well, my comment would be that there are fireworks tents. Just, I know that we've talked about there are, because I bought some. And fireworks on the New Year's is a pretty big thing. I don't know that I support that particular amendment, but I like where it's going. But I can't discuss anything further.
We'll deal with this amendment now. Alderman Blackburn.
So I am hearing correctly that there are fireworks stands that I have just not ever seen during that time. Is that, I don't know how this works with our parliamentarian here. I didn't know that. I've never seen a fireworks stand in town during that time. If there are, I don't want to impede their business. So my question is, then, because I made the second,
You can second something.
okay.
I would like to remove my amendment then, on that. Withdraw. I will withdraw it.
You can withdraw your amendment. We'll go back to the original motion.
It's learning process here.
2-minute warning.
With 2-minute warnings. Okay, is there any other discussion on the ordinance as presented in ordinance number 1569?
Mayor, I would like to make an amendment where we disallow permits and permits fees from December 21st to January 5th. That's my amendment.
Isn't that what she said? That was the same one.
That's
Doesn't
the,
matter. I can
So you're
do
gonna do it again? Okay, I'll second it.
I can?
Oh, never mind.
All right, let me do this. If I can't do that, my amendment would be, see, there's a 7602, just a permits and permits fees. There's a 7606, it's sale of fireworks. Can I not do an amendment to prevent that, Ms. Parliamentarian?
Mr. Judkins to address that
Yes,
question.
I'd like an opinion.
Okay. I basically am finding this difficult because you're not speaking to the wording on this ordinance. You're going to the chapters to strike dates from. What we're looking at right now is whether to approve what's in front of you, an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city by amending the chapter to expand the trial period. That's what you're speaking to amend it to extend the period. So that right now is
I have to
what-
address that.
That's correct. That's correct.
So either one of our amendments is not really proper.
No,
I was sitting
Withdrawn.
Thank you. We're back to the original ordinance, and we do have a proper motion and a second.
Do we need to, at this point, extend time? Is this one, if we needed to continue discussion, where we would extend the time? And I don't know how to do, what I'm supposed to say again on that.
You can make a motion to postpone.
Oh, no.
No. A motion to extend the discussion.
The limit of debate is set at 15 minutes. And she needs to then come by and say how much she wants to extend the debate.
No, do you want to extend the debate time, or do you
Yes,
want to
correct, sir.
extend this ordinance for further study?
I would like to make a motion to extend the discussion for 5 more minutes. Sorry.
That requires a vote.
Second.
And we have a second.
Blanks to the
Discussion on
second.
that.
And
We do have a motion and a second to extend the discussion for 5 minutes. Vote green for approval and red for no.
it has to pass 2/3, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We got Barry and Almacher. Not those. All right.
Passes 6-0.
6 to
1.
1, so yes, we
Okay, and you made that motion to extend, and you would speak first.
Oh, I just felt like everybody was clearly wanting to find a compromise, because we do hear from people that they don't want any more fireworks in the community. And I don't know where the middle ground is. And maybe that is to specifically just limit the use is to cut out the number 2, section at 7-613. But people do like to use it on the 4th of July, or for the first, whatever, January 1st. So I'm just trying to find what the middle ground is, so that's why I wanted to extend discussion.
For what I'm getting from our parliamentarian, though, we're limited to just this extension.
Okay.
Not taking away what's already there. We will have to bring that back at another date and another time and place to cut it back.
Thank you.
Yes, Alderman Almacher.
Can I call the question, please, Mr. Mayor?
Second.
Motion.
Just a minute. We're not ready.
That was an incorrectly stated motion.
Motion to call the question?
No. I move the previous question.
I move the previous question.
If there's no discussion, you want to make a vote.
This time we vote green for extending the sale.
Just the first.
I move the previous question, which means I have to clear the board, and we are voting on the original.
No, she votes whether or not to call the previous question.
All right, we can still discuss if this fails,
I see.
correct?
Oh, my gosh.
It's a learning process, sorry.
What are we voting
Whether to cut off discussion or not.
on? To cut off the discussion. Okay, gotcha. Everyone voted. Okay, and we're displaying. So,
We will cut off discussion.
Now you go immediately vote on that one.
And from here, we go back to the ordinance, and we have no more discussion, and we'll vote green for extending the time period for the permit sale use of fireworks.
I had to clear the board, so everyone voted.
Undo it. Did it not work?
Oh, ready? Let's go.
That motion passes 5-2. Okay.
Blackwell's not
Oh,
lit.
but I did. Did you have it?
Okay, I did not.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
I can tell you what it was.
We need red and green fireworks.
Or maybe mine's like yours last time, it has the short.
Here we go. Vote again. All votes are in. One, two,
The motion
3, 4, 5.
passes 5-2.
Thank you.
And with that, we have the first item, number 10, of which there are 18, so we only have 7 more items to go. With that, we should be finished by breakfast. Resolution number 1889, a resolution by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Tullahoma to adopt an amendment to the city charter of relaxing delinquent tax collections. Our city attorney has already spoken to that tonight, and I'll entertain a motion to approve this. Motion from Blackwell, seconded by Dunn. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, vote green for yes and red for no.
Mr. Mayor, point of order, don't they need to verbalize their motions?
When it's printed here, we do not need to verbalize the motion again. If it's printed, if it's a motion
Our
that's being made.
parliamentarian is saying we do.
If it's being made, then you certainly would need to restate the motion. We'll restate the motion.
Move to approve?
Oh, wait, not yet.
Oh, I'm so
We have a motion and a second. There was no discussion, so I'll restate the motion. Resolution number 1889, a resolution by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee, to support an amendment of the city's charter related to the delinquent tax collections. That's the motion. Green for red, green for approval, red for no. That resolution passes 7-0. Item number 21-160, consider approval of a 5-year lease renewal with the Department of the Air Force on the use of tennis courts located on Arnold Air Force Base, subject to an agreement on the insurance terms.
Move to approve a 5-year license renewal. This is what we're supposed to do with the Department of Air Force to use tennis courts located on Arnold Air Force Base, subject to agreement on insurance terms.
I don't think you need to do that, do you?
Do I need to
say that? She
Yes.
just made the motion and restated it.
Yes,
She doesn't
you're
need
like
to restate it.
redundant right now.
Second by
Seconded by Blanks. Discussion?
Mayor, just as,
Yes.
to introduce
excuse
the
me.
item.
I need to defer to our city administrator for comments on that, for background.
Thank you. I think many of you are aware we have a license agreement that served the city for the past 5 years, and we have residents that use the tennis courts out on the base property. Many residents, though, you cannot see them from the road, so this may be news to them and an opportunity to make them aware that we have tennis courts out there. We thought this would be a simple renewal, but we've hit sort of a challenge. The first couple of agreements that have been sent over have exceeded state law in what we are allowed to purchase in terms of liability insurance. So we're still negotiating that. I'm optimistic that we can resolve it before the holiday. And so that's why tonight I'm asking for your approval subject to agreement on those insurance terms rather than just removing the item altogether.
Okay, the motion is to approve the resolution subject to the insurance terms. Yes, Alderman Berry.
Mr. Mayor, a couple of quick questions. Do we know how much use how many people are actually using it? And do we know what our expenses are in protection, care, and maintenance of the premises, plus the combined insurance? Do we know that we're getting and utilities, and are there enough people using this to where it justifies us doing this when we do have public tennis courts that are available for anybody to use at the high school? I guess that's my question. Can I address the city administrator and ask if she has those
Yes,
answers?
we have had that discussion. You might elaborate on that.
Yes, a couple of points. We don't have a counter out there or cameras to say exactly how many users. Anecdotally, I would say, I think that the tennis courts at the high school get much more use. They're central, they're very visible. We know that the tennis club plays out there regularly. We do know that the tennis courts get some use, and I think even some have tried to make it into pickleball courts. I think you might remember that story where they painted lines on the courts out there. I asked, just quickly looking back at the last couple of years, we've had about $2,000 worth of insurance expense annually for these courts. We haven't had a large maintenance expense, except for that vandalism. When we correct that, we'll incur some maintenance costs out there. The insurance that they're asking us, there's some new lines of coverage that we weren't previously asked to carry. So that's part of the negotiation that we're entering right now. Does that, you asked a few questions. Am I missing one?
That did, after we
Okay.
go around, I got to follow up.
So next.
Mr. Mayor, to Alderman Berry's question, I think that is an overflow court for the high school tennis team too during competition. If they're, doing a way they have used the country club in the past, still may be, but I think they use those courts as well.
Yes, Alderman Blackwell.
I know a lot of people who use it pretty regularly during good weather. So in terms of what that is, I've played on it before, so I do know it gets use. That's all.
Any further discussion?
One
Yes?
quick follow-up. Is there urgency to getting this on this agenda prior to knowing what that insurance cost is?
The current agreement expires in January, so that's the only timing is I hope to have the renewal signed before the current agreement expires, just so there's no lapse.
Does it expire before our next meeting?
I believe it does, yes.
The other thing is, that what we're voting on is subject to the insurance terms. And if it's not, we may not renew the license if the insurance terms are prohibited.
Who will determine what?
City administrator.
So working in consultation with our insurance providers, Lester Green McCord and public entity partners. And there are state caps. Some of what they are asking for exceeds state caps.
Is it possible for us to put a limit on what that price of that policy is?
I can't.
I just don't want to write a blank check, I guess is what I'm saying. I hate saying let's do it contingent upon this price without knowing that price. Or a max, or a window, or.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to amend with the contingency that the insurance does not exceed $2,500 a year, or $2,500 a term policy. I guess, is it yearly?
Yes.
A $2,500 a year policy.
Okay, we have an amendment to the motion. Get the amendment?
Got the amendment, but I need a second.
We need a second. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Hearing no second?
I'll second that.
You're seconding? Okay. We have an amendment and a second. Any discussion on the amendment?
Yes, Ms. Moody, could you tell us what the insurance has been in the past, just a ballpark?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to recognize our finance director, Sue Wilson. Give her just a second.
Last year you paid $1,938.40.
Okay.
And that was for property liability coverage, correct? And so one of the things that they've asked for this year is some auto coverage, which we haven't previously carried.
So that's what we don't know. It could be asking, it could be more than the 1,900, depending on terms of what they're asking, because we came back and looked for a lot different terms of the lease. But it's a federal lease, and that's, I think, standard for them on other properties, maybe not necessarily.
Yeah, it looked like boilerplate language, and that's why we were optimistic that once we can get to the right person to realize, well, think about what you're actually having us license, that they'll be more reasonable.
Do we have any control over the parking lots? Is it the parking lot, it's just the court itself, is that correct?
No, it's the whole acreage that goes with it.
Oh, I see, okay. Okay.
Ms. Alderman Blackwell.
I guess the follow-up question to that then is, do you feel like $2,500 would be sufficient if needed to cover whatever additional things that might be incurred at this point? Additional coverage?
I think I'd feel better with 3,000 because as far as our ability to commit
I'll amend my motion to 3,000, a contingency of no more than $3,000 a year for liability.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have the amendment that's been restated to not exceed $3,000 and Alderman Blanks.
Did she get a second on hers?
Is that how that
I
goes?
seconded
I don't-
hers.
Okay.
Point of order, I don't think that's.
Oh, is
how-
that's not how it's supposed to happen, right?
Yeah,
Say again?
it is not good form to withdraw a motion. You should let yours go through, or someone can have a secondary amendment to the primary, which is the 2,500. Strike 2,500 and insert the 3,000.
So somebody else can secondary amend, okay.
So we'd like Barry first.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to amend the motion striking 2,500 and changing that to 3,000 maximum.
Second.
Second by Blackwell. Since there's no further discussion, we do have further discussion.
Yes, I think we're going down a rabbit hole here as a board. We have a city administrator, and her job is to take care of this. We should not be coming up here and doing 18 sub-amendments, in my opinion. Ms. Moody is very capable of taking care of this and not letting it get out of control. And, if we're going to micromanage every little $500, I don't think that's what we were elected to do. I have no other comment.
We're speaking now to the secondary amendment that was made by Alderman Berry.
I'll speak to the amendment and why I made the motion. I think it is incumbent upon us, since we hold the purse strings to the city, to make sure that we are good stewards of the city tax dollars, and this is in an effort to do such. So, Mr. Mayor, with that, I'd like to I move the previous question.
We have an amendment, we have a secondary amendment made by Alderman Berry. That amendment was to approve this with restriction of no more than $3,000 for the insurance. All in favor?
Did we ever get a second on that? On that move to question?
Yes, you have to vote on her previous question. She needs a second. And then you go immediately to the previous question.
I'll second that.
So we're voting on,
Whether or not we want to vote on it.
We're voting on the vote.
Now we're going to the vote, cutting off debate. And we're voting on the $3,000.
No, you're voting on whether or not to go.
And Allmarker made the motion to cut off the debate.
Oh,
It
I
was
didn't,
seconded
excuse me, I
by
did not
Barry.
hear that. Excuse me, Alderman Allmarker, I didn't hear that.
And it was seconded by
Say-
Barry.
Okay, that was second. Excuse me,
Cut
I
off
didn't hear
the
that.
debate.
Cut off debate, green for cut off.
Has everyone voted? Am I on the right
I think so.
Okay, there we go.
Now we've approved 3,000, we've moved to cut off the debate. That passes 5-2. Now we go back
That is.
5-2. Yes,
Yes,
4.6. So we cut off debate. Now we go back to the amendment. That amendment was seconded. Did you get the second on that amendment?
Which is a motion by Barry, seconded by Blackwell, to not exceed 3,000.
That's the motion. Vote green for yes and red for no. And that passes 7-0. Now we go back to the original motion. And that motion has been made and seconded. And at this point, we've discussed it. I will restate the motion.
Mr. Mayor, point of order. I don't think we need to vote on the original order since it was amended.
We have to vote.
We have to
We
vote
voted on
it
the
as amended.
amendment.
As amended.
Okay, gotcha, as amended. Gotcha, okay.
We're voting on item number 21-160, consider the approval of a 5-year license with the Department of Agriculture to use tennis courts located on Laurel Air Force Base. Agreement subject to terms of the insurance agreement, and those terms are not to exceed $3,000. Vote green for yes and red for no.
Original motion as
Oh, did you not get me?
Oh.
Okay.
And that motion now passes 7-0. We'll now go to item number 161. Consider the approval of purchasing 3 replacement police vehicles from CDJR of Columbia. Total cost is $96,387.75 for the 3 vehicles under state contract pricing. Question, Ms. Booty, do you want to give us the background on this before we get a motion and second?
It can be after or before.
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, this is annual replacement for these vehicles. Life cycle, we annually budget to replace 3 vehicles. And these funds are budgeted and available for this replacement.
Okay, that's the
Mayor,
background. Now we'll go, does someone care to make the motion? Yes, Ms. Blackwell.
I move to approve as stated, right?
Okay.
I can say it like that. Okay.
And a second. Got a second from Ms. McGee, Alderman McGee. Any discussion? Alderman Blackwell, Alderman McGee, Alderman Almacher, thank you.
Okay, so I really hate the idea of, let's replace 3 every year, just because we can replace 3 every year and we budgeted for it. I want to know what are the 3 vehicles we're replacing, the make, model, and mileage, and what is the condition of those vehicles that we need to spend $100,000 on 3 new vehicles.
Can you address that all?
I don't have that information in front of me.
Chief to do that?
Chief Williams, do you have that available tonight?
I move to postpone, I make a motion to postpone until the next meeting, until that information is available.
Also, for the efficiency of the meeting, if in the future, if you would send me those requests, I would have had that information for you tonight.
I really didn't think about it, I apologize.
We have a motion, we don't have a second. Motion fails for lack of a second. We go back to the original motion. No further discussion. We'll consider the approval of purchasing of replacement vehicles for the CDJR of Columbia. Total cost $96,387.75. 3 vehicles under state contract pricing. Vote green for yes and red for no.
Excuse me.
And that is approved 7-0.
Point of privilege for 5 minutes, please, and thank you.
Extended.
Thank you.
5 minutes. Recess.
Uh-oh.
So. me make the little.
That's right. Don't be angry.
We'll reconvene.
Reconvene.
And moving along quickly.
We're gonna have to start feeding y'all.
Meeting will come to order. We'll be in order. Item number 21-162, we'll consider the approval of a temporary construction easement requested by TDOT on Wilson Avenue project. Ms. Wilson, Ms. Moody, this is on Wilson Avenue. Would you please give us a background on this resolution?
Yes, I would be happy to. I think you're all very familiar with the TDOT project to widen Wilson Avenue from North Jackson, State Route 16 to Cedar Lane. As a part of that project, they'll close a portion of the greenway that runs underneath the bridge and need temporary construction easement from us to construct a pedestrian detour route. One of the good fortunes, I think, of them constructing this is it must be an ADA accessible detour, and it creates a permanent improvement for us after the project is done. They'll be constructing 2 routes on the south side of Wilson Avenue. One will be a shorter stairway path from the existing greenway up to Wilson Avenue. They'll also be constructing a switchback, so an ADA compliant concrete sidewalk up to Wilson Avenue, all on the south side. Then the pedestrian will cross Wilson to the north side to that corner of Fraser McEwen Park and have a short segment of sidewalk to connect back to our existing greenway. And like I said, they're considering this temporary construction easement and temporary pedestrian detour route because after construction, they'll reopen that portion of greenway underneath the bridge, either same condition as we had it or better. So we'll have both conditions in the future, both options for the greenway.
Okay, you heard the caption. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion from Blanks, seconded by Perry.
Anyone, yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, vote green for approval, red for not. Passes 7-0. Item number 21-163, consider approval and authorize the mayor to sign an amendment 2 to the grant contract with TDOT for the Ledford Mill Road project, that's resulting in an increase in the total project budget from $620,000 to $856,000. That's the motion, and Ms. Moody would have some background on that.
Yeah, so the Ledford Mill project consists of widening the roadway and replacing a box culvert or small bridge over the North Fork of Rock Creek. This project had an original completion date of 2016, so it gives you an idea of how long we've had this project identified by TDOT and why there is such an increase or a change in construction costs from the original contract to today. With this amendment, amendment number 2 they're asking you to sign, they're revising the project end date to September 30th, 2023. And I think it'd be appropriate for us to also amend our budget to reflect these increasing costs. Now, these are not final costs. The project is only in the design phase right now, so it hasn't been bid. I would estimate, just like you'll see on a future agenda item tonight, it could increase again. So I just want to make you aware that with these TDOT funded projects, sometimes the state budget is limited on their side, and then the city is asked to increase our local share if we want to continue the project.
Thank you, Ms. Moody. Could I get a motion to approve? Alderman Berry.
Make a motion to approve.
And seconded by Alderman Blanks. Any further discussion? Hearing none, vote green for approval, red for no.
I know Jim had mentioned earlier about drainage and stormwater. Is there reason to believe that this could help in some way?
Well, I'll look to our Public Works Director, Butch Taylor, for his comments. I thought you were going to ask about wetlands.
Yes, well, I mean,
So you
that too,
surprised me
all
with
of that, all of that.
Will it help? Maybe a little, but not much. what you're seeing from what people are calling the flooding and swamps is a beaver problem. We did not have the problem till the beavers come up in there. We consistently go out there probably, I would say quarterly, and have to go on the airport property to open up the beavers. We used to trap the beavers, but they've gotten a little smarter than we are. So they are very dedicated at their work. But we would not have that if it were not for the beavers. Because that used to drain, no problem, but now the beavers have pretty much declared it home, and we've contacted TWRA. They basically sent us a guy, trained our staff to trap, otherwise.
Okay.
So
it's, but I mean, there has to be environmental studies and protection of certain wetlands and those sorts of things before they proceed.
as Ms. Moody said, these costs, because of the beavers that have created this area of refuge for them, I guess, it could get into wetlands. There could be a wetland study. Right now, we have not been asked to do that, but that could happen.
Okay, so this started in like 2016? Do you think, were there wetlands at that point, really?
That was
So
the
the
end
Beaver
date,
family
so it
had not
probably
moved
started 3 years before
Wow,
that.
okay, wow.
I mean, it's been a problem out there for
Yeah.
a long time, but the beavers have definitely impacted the problem.
Okay.
Okay, at this point, I'm reminded by our parliamentarian that it's not appropriate for us to discuss at this point, but we can debate amongst us, but not discuss. Thank you.
Thank you.
The beavers are using yellow wood, I understand. Okay. We do have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Vote green for yes and red for no. That passes 7-0. Item number 21, 164, consider approval to authorize the mayor to sign an amendment to grant with TDOT for Safe Routes to School, East Grundy Sidewalk Project, resulting in an increased total of that project from $147,000 to $244,000. Again, defer to Ms. Moody, discuss what that increase is and why it has taken so long.
This item and the next item are linked to this project. This is the Safe Routes to School sidewalk project that I mentioned earlier tonight. It's along East Grundy from North College to the Dossett Apartments. As you mentioned earlier today, about 1,100 linear feet of new sidewalk, and it has been extended several times. It's been through an environmental review and an environmental recertification. It has been through extensive right-of-way acquisition that delayed the project. And thank you to Steve Worsham for all your diligent work on getting it this far along. So this project is now at the point it has been bid, and you'll see the next item is related to that. This item is amending the end date, extending it another year to December 22nd, 2022, and amending the budget, hopefully for the final time, and allowing us to adjust the city's local match by about $88,000. This was originally 100% state grant with no local match required. So I will say that it's 7 years in the making, and that difference in cost, like I described, is fully, the state has increased their portion just a little bit, but we've had to increase ours by about $88,000.
Could I get a motion to approve 21-164?
Move to approve.
Alderman Blackwell. It was approved by Blackwell, seconded by Berry. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote green for yes and red for no. Motion approved 7-0. Item number 21-165, consider acceptance of the bids as presented and authorize the mayor to sign a grant for hall excavating in the amount of $167,080.
This is just so important as far as the beautification of downtown, so I'm really glad that.
One other thing I would like to add, Mayor, those are the three main lights in town. They're gonna look a lot better than what we had. We hope to get 40 years out of them. They'll have a lighted name of the street above, so it'll, with our plan of, Tullahoma Streetscape or whatever that's called, this will work hand in glove with that.
Very good. Any further discussion? Go green for approval, red for no. Motion passes 7-0. There being no other new business, we will adjourn. From there, we will move directly into the beer board. We have established that we have a quorum. At this time, we will entertain any public comments related to the beer board. Seeing none, we'll move into the summary of the beer board agenda. Oh, please come to the podium and state your name and address.
My name and my address?
Please.
Name is Paul Householder. Address is 217 Lynn Street in Tullahoma.
Thank you.
And I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be getting a permit for a beer license. Is that what this is all about?
You will be called shortly.
You'll be called.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Under the, we will first go to the consent agenda, and that will be the minutes of the November 8th Beer Board meeting. Hear a motion to approve the...
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Seconded by Blackwell. Thanks, Blackwell. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, vote green for approval, red for no. Approved 7-0. There being no other old business, we'll go directly under new business. Under new business, we've got a beer application for the Tullahoma Sports Council, Sports Hall of Fame Awards Banquet, D.W. Willis Center, located 501 North Collins Street. That is Master James D. Bratcher Jr. He'll be the manager and in charge of the beer sales. The event will be held on Saturday, February the 12th. Motion to approve.
Move to approve with also waiving the application fee.
Second.
Motion to approve with
Second.
waiving the application fee, and Blackwell has seconded that. We'll first have an amendment. Okay. We'll go back and redo this. We have a motion, but you made an amendment.
Can I make the motion and amendment all at one fell swoop? Or no? Okay, I make the motion. Please, somebody amend.
I'll second, and can I amend it immediately?
If you get
You
recognized
got a
by the
second? You're recognizing you're making a second on the motion.
And
You're making a motion, you're seconding the motion.
And I would like to make an amendment to the motion now.
Make your amendment.
I would like to amend the first motion to waive the application fee.
We have an amendment, we need a second on the
Second.
amendment. Alderman Almacher. You're seconding?
Seconding.
We have an amendment with a second. Any discussion on the amendment?
One quick question. Do
Alderman
we
Blair.
waive the nonprofit fee on every nonprofit that comes through?
we tried to.
That's been-
That's been the case.
Okay. I'm just making sure we do it for everybody.
Mr.
Yeah.
President. Okay.
At least I've seen that.
Okay.
And also, I'm going to abstain because I sit on the Sports Council.
I understand. Okay, being no further discussion, vote green for approval, red for no.
That's for the amendment.
That's for the amendment.
My pen. Okay.
The amendment to waive the fee has been approved, 5-0, 6-0.
6-0.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll go back to the original motion now, and get
As amended.
a motion as amended.
Okay. We got Dunn and
I'm
Noah
sorry.
still need to vote on the amendment. Original motion as amended. Okay. And that's 6-0.
That's 6-0 as well.
Good deal.
That motion passes 6-0. Item number 21, BB 55, beer application. It's a manufacturing distributor permit for Blue Cloud Distribution located at 308 Cobb Road. Mr. Simon Creech and Mr. Aaron Schmart and the others, they'll be the owners and in charge of beer sales. No managers yet been named. Give us a motion. Motion, Barry.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Barry, to approve, and seconded by Almacher. Any discussion? Green for approval, red for no.
Is this a, it says manufacturers, is this a brewery? Is that what this is?
It's distribution, so I'd say it's distributor's permit.
Can you ask him?
But it has a manufacturer's permit.
Or distributors.
That's the only option.
Do we?
I see your hand. For what purpose do you wish to be recognized, Barry?
Oh, can we ask them? I think we have some standard questions that we ask for the beer license before we vote.
You may.
Your name and address.
Hi, my name's Erin Hyatt, and I'm here representing PepsiCo, and this is my partner.
Nathan Mashek, representing Blue Cloud Distribution.
And your question?
My question, this
It
is
was her
a,
question.
this is a distribution center, not a brewery, is that correct? So more
Correct.
like just bottling sort of thing, okay. Or like just, yeah, coming in on the trucks and going back out,
Correct.
okay.
Any further discussion?
Will you be selling any alcohol?
You're recognized, Ms. Almacher.
Oh, sorry, my apologies, yes. Will you be selling any alcohol outside of your distribution operations? Will you have any retail sales or anything?
No, those will be completely separate. So
Okay.
we will simply be distributed to retailers.
I see.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Alderman Blanks.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank y'all for sitting here for 2.5 hours just to answer our 3 or 4 questions.
This has
Thank you
been
for
fun.
being
We're
very
coming back
patient.
next month.
Now you need a psych evaluation.
We learned about a parliamentarian, so it's been interesting.
Thank you again. We appreciate your interest in Tullahoma.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, vote green for approval, red for no. That passes 7-0. Thank you. We look forward to
Thank you very much.
Beer Board BB 36 beer application for off-premises permit for the seafood place located at 105 Northwest Atlantic Street. Owners are Mr. Paul Householder, Mr. Justin Almacher, Mr. Justin Householder, Mr. Emily Marie Householder. They'll be, Miss Householder will be in charge of beer sales. Get a motion?
Move to approve.
Barry, you're recognized.
I'll make a motion to approve.
You have a motion to approve. Almacher, you be recognized.
Second.
And second. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to address the householders. It's an on and, oh, I'll let you, sorry. Thank you. Yes, please, and thank you. Thank you. So this is an on and off permit, so are you, meaning you will be selling beer in like a 6-pack and they'll be going home with them? Or they will be
No.
consuming alcohol on your premises?
They will be consuming alcohol on the premise.
Okay.
I think the off-premise was because of the bottles of wine.
Okay.
But then somebody said if they open it and take a little bit out, then it doesn't need to be off-premise. So it might have been just a misunderstanding. We're not planning on sending anything like in a 6-pack home with people.
Okay, okay, so it's just staying,
Yeah,
and so,
single
and
serves.
I know, I love your location, so would people be able to drink in that outside area, or would they just have to stay inside the
Well, it's the
building?
second location that we're talking about, the one in the Moore and Hedges building.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
So the
Okay.
other one, the little one on East Lincoln will still be there, be doing exactly what it's doing now. But yeah, no alcohol being served there.
Okay, great, thank you very much.
No problem at all.
Just enjoy your seafood in where your
Yes.
new location is.
Couple of questions.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, you are.
Have you ever served beer before?
Like here in Tullahoma? No. In Maryland? Yes.
Okay, so you have?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the beer laws of Tullahoma and
times you're supposed to open and who you can sell to.
We have training, if I'm not mistaken, that we're taking on that. She's the one that's responsible for the selling of the beer. I just pick things up and put things down.
But you're taking the training as well.
Yes, there's a class that we are going to take, yes.
Awesome.
Selling alcohol is a very important thing that you know, make sure you don't sell
Yes,
to
sir, we're not
minors.
interested in being a bar. We just
Yeah.
want them to.
I know that, but if
drink
we're granting you a
and
beer
go.
license,
Yeah,
we
no
want to make sure
minors, nothing.
you know all
Yeah.
the stuff you're supposed to do. Thank you.
We thank you for your interest in Tullahoma. Any further discussion? If not, we vote green for yes and red for no.
Tullahoma Utilities Authority now has a branch at 501 West Lincoln Street. The drive-through only branch located